Sacrifice was tonight, and it was actually pretty good. This whole Impact Wrestling thing, might have been for the better of that company. Just by looking at that match, just by looking at what's been going on for them for the past few days. I didn't get to see much of the opening match, but I got a little late for it. But what I saw from Mexican America against Inc. was just constant interference by Rosita and Sarita. I mean, Inc. would have had the win, but just miscommunication between both of those guys, and just the constant interference gave Hernandez and Arquilla the advantage and helped them get the pinfall after the modified border toss. I don't really know if it was a border toss or a kind of a shoulder breaker or something. I didn't really see it out the corner of my eye. But this is rare to see after a pay-per-view. And you see a promo, like an actual promo, not like a like the highlight package, but an actual promo where they come out. It's just ridiculous that they still have to do a promo even during a pay-per-view. They call themselves Impact Wrestling. They prove they are tonight, but just that kind of said, okay, they're still going to do promos and talking and shit. But this was about Karen with a walking boot claiming her injury after a fall this weekend. And Mick Foley came out and said the x-rays were false. In fact, that the x-rays were not of Karen Jarrett, unless she's a man, but it was a 6 foot tall, 6'6" African male. So unless Karen is an African male, a nigger that is 6'6", which I don't think is possible. And it's not possible, by the way, unless you had some fucking height reconstruction and, of course, a gender surgery or whatever the fuck it's called nowadays. But the match would go on. After that, Kendrick and Robbie E had a alright match. But it was kind of lackluster. I didn't think a lot of stuff would happen much out of this match, and I was right. But it was decent. It did end kind of odd, though. Robbie E wins with a, I don't know, I don't think they would call it a drop kick, but it's just like a kick to the head and a pinfall, which you'd see a lot of that during this pay-per-view. But, it was decent. But Robbie E did get the pinfall over Brian Kendrick. Before the Knockouts title match, Madison Rayne tells Tara to stay in the back, so it wouldn't, cost her the match. But Tara comes out anyway after the introductions, and the match barely begins. During that match, though, Madison goes out of the ring and gets the loaded glove, which we haven't seen in months. This loaded glove, Lord knows if there's a brass knuck in there or something, but it has something in there. But Tara takes it away. Takes the glove away, which is a good move by Tara. And just constant interference by Tara kind of was the downfall for Madison Rayne. And the glove did have a factor in there. But Tara came in with the glove on her hand. She's going to hit Mickie James, and then she just hits Madison Rayne, and Mickie James retains the title. Probably not the way she wanted to, but in a way it secures that Tara is no longer in services with Madison Rayne, and thank God, because it was ridiculous to begin with. The X Division title match, Kazarian versus Max Buck, was actually one of the most entertaining matches of the card. And, just high-flying moves that we would see from the old X Division brought back into this one match. You see, like, a ICE moonsault. Actually, no, I think, yeah, it was an ICE moonsault by the great Ultimo Dragon. They put that in there somehow. And they put the sunset flip, the 450 splash. It was just constant high-flying, constant mat wrestling. It was one of the greatest matches on the card. But the downfall on this was I don't want to call it a sunset flip. It was kind of more of a sunset flip, but it was kind of like a powerbomb at the end. because Max Buck's head hit the concrete, and I'm surprised there was no like severe injury out of that, like or a concussion or anything like that. But you know, at the end, Kazarian hit a Shining Wizard out of nowhere to retain the title, and I do not know if that Shining Wizard did more damage to the head to Max Buck with him hitting his head on the outside, like on the concrete, not on the matting, but the concrete. And Crimson versus Abyss was actually, it was all right. It had its moments, but during the match, Abyss brought back Janice. We saw a lot of comebacks. First, we saw the loaded glove of Madison Rain, and now we saw Janice, the spiked. I don't want to call it a bat because it's not a bat. It's kind of like more of a spiked 2x4, just painted a little bit. And Crimson hit a tackle and avoided it. And the spear didn't get Abyss down, but this massive, I don't want to call it a gorilla press, but it was more of a power bomb on Abyss. See, Abyss is a real big guy, so a gorilla press slam or a power bomb is good enough, just an accomplishment by itself to lift the big man. But that helped Crimson remain undefeated and get his win over the Monster Abyss, which makes him a good contender for a title very soon. In a bout between the former tag team champions, the former tag team partners in James Storm and Chris Harris, because Beer Money versus Chris Harris and Matt Hardy. We saw a lot of Matt Hardy in this matchup. We didn't see much of Chris Harris, but he still has a lot of ring rust probably, which is my guess why they didn't use him much. But at the end, Storm hit a super kick, but then instead of doing the DWI, and for all AMW fans, you got to use the old finisher for AMW, the Death Sentence leg drop, to finish off Harris for the pin and the retaining of the titles. Now, I did not get to see this match. It was Tommy Dreamer versus AJ Styles. Just the streams were fucking up, and I couldn't find a better one, but then I found one after that match. But here's a little quick recap I found on the match. Let's see here. AJ got the early advantage and fought with Dreamer throughout the arena. They introduced weapons in the match, including tables, just like any weapon you would see with the old ECW style matches, including a table, which AJ Styles jumped off for a flying fist. Dreamer somehow found a fork and used it on AJ's face, much like the I Quit match with AJ having the fork on close to Dreamer's eye, making him be able to say I quit, or he'd lose sight in his eye, which, makes sure it's good that they are reliving some moments in their storylines and in their matches, but in a way it probably wasn't needed. I didn't see the match again, so I don't know off the top of my head. AJ tried to end the match with a Styles Clash onto the table. Bully Ray interferes and smashes AJ with a chain. This allows Dreamer to hit a pile driver through the table for the 1-2-3. And it's kind of redemption for Dreamer there. And with this stupid limit on this phone, sometimes I just gotta... The last two matches of this review will be on the next part.